whether you've chosen to follow or just kind of saw it. And I just want to say what's up. So this is Not a Tutorial is the name of the channel. This is our Monday Mania. Just kind of hanging out for a little bit. We're gonna have like basically an introduction. Check out what we're gonna do, what this channel is gonna be about. So you can hang around. We're just gonna chat for a little bit, just hang out and see what you guys are up to. So I am the Lazy Titan. You can follow me there at 808 on Rumble or Twitter, X, whatever it is called now. And you would be?
I am Tim, or you can find me at big_country 3940 on TikTok. Or, yeah, I think that's all I got for socials besides my personal Facebook.
Nice, yeah. Definitely starting out fresh on a lot of this stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, basically what we're going to be doing here on the channel, at least our Monday podcastings, will be talking about different movies, comparisons throughout the eras, talk about actors potentially, how stories have changed, things throughout, basically culture and how it has differed from 20, 30 years ago to how it is now. Is there any improvement? Just, whatever and anything. So we usually pick a couple movies. We don't put them head to head as to like which is better, but we do like to try and find good points for each, or hey, this is why this one worked really well and this is why this one's great for either a modern or a classic. So that's basically what the channel is going to be about. We're just going to hang out, just chat. We'll have some just other content on here. So yeah, just check it out and have some fun. So basically this is going to be just kind of our intro video, like we said. So I'll start. I'll kick it off. So basically, the goals for this channel is to just kind of entertain and have just kind of an everyday podcast or an everyday video. You just kind of check in. Once we dive deeper into a lot of this stuff, maybe we'll start hitting some of the channels of getting more mainstream information, and being able to kind of bring you some of this stuff. Or if you're just interested in the show, and you like our opinions or you kind of side with our direction and our views, then, check out the video and see if it's even worth watching the movie or the show or whatever it ends up being. Or just going back and catching some classics. I mean, that's a huge thing right now because a lot of the stuff nowadays, it's not really that good. It's
Nope.
you have to really cherry pick what's going on around, you know, the culture nowadays, movie theaters, how often do you actually go to the movies anymore? What movies are you stoked for going to, right? It's slim to none.
Yeah.
So I think the goal of this channel is just kind of bring some basic entertainment and hopefully some information to folks that are on the fence about a movie. And some of the comments for said movies and trailers don't, normally give it justice. So we'll, bite the bullet sometimes and go see it, or go watch the show and then give you an honest answer about it. So, Tim, what
Yeah,
do you
like
got?
Travis said, like you were just saying, we're doing this for entertainment, and we're having a conversation, just like if we were having a conversation, when we're at work or out hanging out, whatever. We're here hanging out, and that's why we started this, because we found the commonality of, you start putting out movie references here and there or whatever the case is, and you kind of make those bonds with people, and that's why we're making this podcast. Is I'm sure it's more than just the two of us that can find the commonalities and relate on another level, and that's why we're here. To have a good conversation, and if you don't like it, that's great. No hard feelings, or but if you enjoy it, make sure you comment below, and then we're here to have a good time, and anything that we say about anything that we talk about is purely our opinions, and if you don't like them, great. If you do, even better. Not a big deal. You're not gonna really
Right.
gonna hurt our feelings. We really don't care about that kind of stuff. So bring it on.
Yeah, no, that's well said. Change the channel. Don't, give us the
Yeah,
view for a half second, whatever. But ultimately, you don't have to contribute
yeah,
at all, which is cool. That's why, the social media, the internet is that double edged sword, of course, but it has the opportunity to kind of follow a group you may not have ever known or been a part of, right? Because it's all interconnected, and when um, when you just want to find some information. I mean, you have the supercomputer in the palm of your hand with any smartphone. So it's it's crazy nowadays how easy it is to just look something up.
Yeah.
Um,
So much
so yeah,
access.
yeah, 100%. So we'll just kind of start with maybe favorite movies.
Before we go down that road, I just happened to notice your shirt. Is that one of your old like racing shirts?
So mountain biking, yeah. So
Okay.
I'm trying to figure. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So there's a bigger stitch on the back, but we had matching jerseys. Me and James. He'll probably be on doing videos here and there. But yeah, he's got like kind of the same. So his last name is McGreevy, so that's where the M is, and then the D on that side. We were gonna kind of have our own little uh, brand, if you will, just make some
Yeah.
custom jerseys and stuff. So
That's
I
cool.
think my wife has one, his wife has one, and we have the white just to wear around. But the other colors were obviously darker, so that way, if feller got dirty, it didn't just completely stain and ruin the jersey.
Yeah.
So,
Makes sense.
um,
That's cool.
but yeah, it was pretty cool. We had some stickers and designs and all that stuff. I'm sure I could flip through my sketchbook here and have a whole bunch that we were trying to play with. But yeah, man, the mountain biking was the time. Like I've told you a couple of the stories, so
Yeah.
it was. We'd love to get back into it. There's some cool trails out here too that I've heard about, so
Yeah.
might be worth it here in a year or two. Hop back on.
For
Um,
sure.
but yeah, so movies um, in the wheelhouse, because it's always hard, right, to have like a cemented top five because everyone's like, "Oh, that's so good, that's a great one, that's a great one."
Yeah.
I, probably the fluctuating top five that I have would be Super Bad, of course,
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
The
Trying to think
first
of
one,
ones that.
or just the
Yes,
series?
yes.
Okay.
The first one you could pick and choose throughout, but definitely
Yeah.
the first one. Um,
Okay.
the Gumball Rally, the 1970s one, with Burt Reynolds actually. Great,
Hold on.
great
Cannonball
movie.
Run.
I'm sorry, Cannonball Run.
Okay.
Well, Gumball Rally too is another one, but
Right.
Cannonball Run and Gumball,
Okay.
just car movies.
Absolutely.
Bullet with Steve McQueen, just probably one of the greatest car chases in all of cinema history, arguably, with the '69 Charger and then the fastback Mustang. Oh, just so good.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, a lot of car movies, and as much as I don't want to admit it, the first Fast and the Furious, um, one that was I haven't watched past four. I'm not. It gets too far. It gets way too far. But the first one started an era, and it brought
No doubt.
JDM
Yeah.
cars and style here to the US more so than it kind of already was. Like it was all underground street racing and all this stuff.
Yeah.
This really opened it up and brought it to the light. And the me and James are huge fans of Formula Drift. Just the style of it. I probably would never have a JDM car. That's not the style I would ever go for. But um, seeing it in the movies and seeing how like well done those cars can be is astounding. And so bringing it out with Paul Walker, with Han, with all these dudes going to car meets and meeting people, I think that was super awesome. And then just the sheer chance that you got to meet him at like a race event or something, that would have been super cool. So that was my era. So I think that's six movies, but that's probably my rotating top five-ish.
Cool. For me, definitely Super Bad in there too. That's actually, before I go any further, that's the movie. Travis and I work together. We're not going to say where, but uh, that's one of the things, like I was saying earlier when you said you put those little feelers out of movie lines and somebody grabs them, you're like, oh, cool. And you keep going. And if not, then back it off. But that's the movie that really set it off where we could quote probably 90% of it just at work. And it was one of those things of like, hey, uh, we both wanted to do a podcast. And it's like, well, what would we do a podcast about? Like, well, why don't we do it about movies and just talk about movies? So that's how this came to be about. So literally Super Bad is the catalyst for this podcast. Just so then that's pretty clear. So that's why we both say Super Bad too. But all right, so Super Bad. Oh, Goodfellas. Let's see here. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, The Notebook, because it's just a classic.
Yeah, I know you're
You can
gay.
shut
Yeah,
your mouth. You can shut your mouth right
yeah.
now. Let's see. Probably Gone in 60 Seconds, the Nicolas Cage one.
Have you seen the original?
I have. It's great. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? 'Cause it's still, but I like the modern one.
sure.
Oh, I really can't tell you the fifth one. That's like saying what's your favorite song though, because it's like, and we'll get into music probably at some point on this podcast too. But it's like that with movies with me because it's like I love so many different types of movies, so many different genres.
Yeah,
Where it's like, well, what mood am I in?
right.
You know what I mean? Like that's what's really going to determine it. Um, let's see, Superman, Goodfellas, Gone in 60 Seconds, The Notebook. What the hell? I might have to come back to it.
Sure.
There's too many. There's too
Yeah,
many.
and like I said, it's tough, right? Because you can't cement any in there where you're
No.
like, I mean, maybe super bad just because like we talked, but that's the era that both of us were young and kind of could put ourselves in that movie, or at least us and a
Oh yeah.
friend kind of. So you could totally see yourself, and it's not some crazy story that would never, like Gone in 60 Seconds or Goodfellas, where it has no connection to us, but other than it being, good cinema.
You know
Um,
what? I'll say this. Pretty much any John Hughes movie from the 80s would be in that fifth realm. Like your 16 Candles. Pretty sure did he do Weird Science as well?
yeah, Weird Science, Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club. Yeah, like any of those from that
Well,
time
pretty much
period
anything.
would be in the top five too. That's just because those are classics and they're great.
Right. Anything Molly Ringwald. For sure, right?
She still looks pretty good today. I don't know if you've seen her
uh,
recently, but she looks pretty good.
I shouldn't say recently, but my wife watches the what's the show? It's like all the teenage pregnancy. It's a drama. Um, My life is a
Teen Mom.
teenage, not reality,
Oh,
not a reality show, like an actual scripted show. Yeah, yeah. I think it's My Life as a Teenage Mom or
I know what you're
something like
talking
that.
about. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But she's in it. She plays the mom
yeah,
of
I know. What you're,
the
yeah,
girl. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, yeah, you're right. Doesn't look bad. Aged fairly well. So,
yeah,
um, well, then let's go into actors. So
for
we
sure.
may do it, spotlight things. We may, because that can be tough too because you say you got an actor that got pigeonholed as whatever,
Yeah,
whatever, or you have one that maybe that's how they started and then they broke out and had a different role. That'd be a great
for
comparison,
sure.
right? That they have
Yeah,
that range. Um, so I don't, yeah, favorite actors. That one again. That one's kind of tough too because you're like, all right, do I want to watch a western? Do I want
that's what I'm saying.
how much class? Clint Eastwood. That's got to be up there. That's the easy one. I think Christian Bale because he's done, at least for me, he's done a lot of
Yeah,
things
I
that
mean,
you would
look
be
at everything that he's
surprised.
done
Yeah,
and
and
everything he's done physically to get to those roles. Like
and
that's insane.
that's it right there, right? Like, have you seen The
Yeah,
Machinist?
no.
Dude, yeah, you want to talk about physically? He gets down like 90 pounds. It is
Oh, that's the one
disgusting.
where he was eating like a can of tuna a day.
Yep,
Yeah, I know
yep.
what you're talking about.
So,
I haven't seen the movie, but I know what you're talking about.
yep. So to do things like that, right? And then you see him as Batman, where he's
Yeah,
just yoked, and other movies.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, what he puts
Or
his
in
body through
Vice when
for
he's
it.
all fat to be what was it, Cheney? Yeah.
Right. So there, that he's up there for sure. I think Michael
Yeah.
Keaton is one where
Oh yeah.
he's fun. He's like a fun actor. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the roles he's done,
Oh yeah.
um, at least to the front that I can remember, have been kind of fun ones, like Beetlejuice and Batman and things. Like they've been just goofy, kind of Mr. Mom and Duplicity. Um,
Oh yeah.
Things where it's kind of a goofy movie, but he'll have other ones that he's pretty solid in. Like you're like, oh shit, dude's got some chops. Like that was great.
Yeah.
Just cemented in acting history for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think unfortunately a lot of actors now have opened their mouths too, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so
And then
okay, before we
influenced
segue
by
it,
outside stuff.
yeah, give some of your tuck-ins.
I mean, definitely Michael Keaton. Like you said, all those movies that you listed. I mean, I could watch any of those. You know what? I should have put one of those in my top five.
See, it's
Multiplicity would
dude.
be, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many. Like, top 10 would be a little bit easier because you could filter in more. But I mean, Mr. Mom, Multiplicity, like nobody else could have done it. It was perfect.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so Michael Keaton, um, Timothy Oliphant
Oh, okay. Yep. Yep.
for movies
That
and
checks
TV
out.
shows.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty biased in that because of Justified,
Sure. Sure. That's fair.
but he's another. He's not like Clint Eastwood, but he's like that's his role. Like you said, some guys and gals have just those roles where it's like that's who they are.
Yeah.
Jason Bateman was always a great one too.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, Tim Conway from
Okay.
back in the day,
Yeah.
and let's see here. There's so many.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that. But I mean, I love comedy more than probably any of the other genres because it's
Sure.
like, and I've heard a lot of people describe it as like it's the hardest thing to like master, just
Sure.
because it's like if you don't have the timing down, it doesn't work, or like trying to make something funny doesn't always make it actually funny. Like when you're
Right.
trying too hard, so it's like if it can flow naturally, so anyway, that's why I appreciate those comedic actor too, because it's like it takes a lot just to get it on there and for it to be actually funny. So
Yeah. No. I figured you'd say Paul Rudd. I kind of forgot about that one.
oh yeah, Paul
Um,
Rudd,
I know
love
that's a
that guy.
top one, dude. He's that's it, right? Just kind of the regular dude. One of those scenes from
Oh, it's my favorite hot ones ever.
I Love You, Man just came up the other.
Oh yeah, I'll be there, Jiff. I've never said that before. Did we lose you?
There it goes.
There we are.
All right, good stuff. I should get Starlink.
Yeah.
So anyway, just to kind of to kind of bring the segue, talking about some actors who unfortunately nowadays open their mouths, and it kind of will leave you with that bitter taste of do I even want to kind of watch a movie to give him support anymore? And unfortunately, it
Yeah.
revolves around politics. I mean, that's the biggest, hottest issue right now, which is
Yep.
insane. And it just, and you mentioned Goodfellas, right? So Robert De
Yep.
Niro, like him just going off rants that he constantly does, buddy, and you're not, going to the rallies or whatever, but to just like openly run your mouth. And
Yeah.
who was it? Mark Ruffalo, he's been doing it a lot too. Ben
Who?
Stiller, like I said, dude, Ben Stiller's got a couple of weird um,
Who'd you say
interviews, and
before
it's like,
Ben Stiller?
what? Like, don't. Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, I haven't heard about him. I know you told me about Ben
So
Stiller.
his, so I mean, Ruffalo's been anti. I mean, he's always saved the trees, but he's been heavily anti-conservative lately. So it's like, you,
Well, where's
everyone
the
sees
money?
their opportunity now. Like that's what puts them in, yeah, it puts them at front and center as if they how loud can I
Yeah.
be, much influence do I have, and it's unfortunate
Well,
because
and he's been
they
so
have a
big
lot.
with all of the
Um,
with all the
but
what he's
and
in Marvel, right? He's in that universe.
yeah, he's Bruce Banner,
Yeah.
so it's the whole.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he's gonna
So
he's
he's
got all
been
those influences coming down.
all around,
Unfortunately.
right? Yeah, but I mean, what is your take on kind of the culture wars now? What do you see it as? Now that
The
you're
culture wars?
drinking, and I just asked what.
Oh, you're fine. I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to see things how it is today, just because of it's weird to me, at least because of how fast it all seemed to kind of spiral out of control. Um, I mean, without getting crazy political about it, because that's not the objective of this podcast. But I mean, it is what's going on in the world. But
Yeah.
I mean, people just want to put the blame game on everything, and just one or a few people, and don't want to take the big step back and see what's actually been taking place over the past probably 20 years, probably, of what's actually been going on.
Yeah.
And just the slow process of the division that's everything going on. Is that what you're getting at? Like that type of stuff? Yeah. So, I mean, I really don't know what to think
Coming
about
from
it, because
somebody who's a
I was just going to say,
no,
I
go
don't
ahead,
know
go ahead.
really how to take it, just because it's like, I don't see a lot of it, firsthand. If I did see more of it firsthand, then I'd have more of an opinion about it. But it's like all I really see it on is either social media or the news. So, I mean, I'm sure what you're about to say will shine a lot more light on it, because you were probably seeing a lot of it more firsthand. But I mean, I really don't have like a solid opinion about it. I think it's a bunch of bullshit, and I think it's ridiculous. I don't think it's as widespread as everybody makes it out to be. I really don't. I think it's just you're getting the microscopic view of it, and it's just blown up, and for everybody to see it, and it's like it's really not what the majority of what's going on in the world or even the country. So that's my opinion of it. I think it's a lot of more propaganda type of stuff than it is anything else. But I am curious to see what you have to say about it. I don't know if you want to get into what your previous job was, or what you want to. I don't won't go any further into that, but your viewpoint of it, I'm interested to see.
So yeah, we can. I mean, eventually, I'll probably get into what I used to do.
Sure.
But ultimately, it doesn't. I don't think it holds too much water. I think maybe towards society, it's a little different for me. But ultimately, I've I've seen it as like 20 years is probably pretty good because it has slowly been there, but it hasn't ramped up as much as it is now, except COVID. I think 2020 was probably that peak where
Yeah, I
everybody
agree.
started to consume so much social media, so much entertainment that it made it so much different to where they how they were reading, their charts and things like that as to what was good, what wasn't. Um, but
Exactly. Yeah.
but yeah, ultimately, we've consumed a lot of entertainment ourselves, and that's why we're doing this. We have a good knowledge of it, but I've seen it from more of the comics culture, the anime, the cartoon animation, things like that, where there it it's taken a harder turn lately than it kind of has, and every once in a while, it was something that they would just kind of probe in there, because
Yeah.
in the comic realm, you could have a run of like 5 comics, and it would just be some arc that maybe happened. It doesn't necessarily make it canon or anything, so you could kind of introduce like a heavy lead female or somebody who's homosexual, gay, whatever. And if it didn't take, you just did 5 comics. It wasn't a big deal. Now it's just pushed so hard
Yeah.
because as um, as people who partook in that media, we didn't say a lot. We kind of just
No.
like, I'm just not going to buy it, and it's the silent majority where we speak with our money, not so
Right.
much as this. But thankfully now we have these outlets where we can have opinions open and tell people what it is. So
Yeah.
I see the culture wars as like them trying to take what people have truly enjoyed and
Yeah.
make it fit their narrative or fit their whatever. And you just see it with so much of the movies now. Like prime example is just Disney. They're hemorrhaging money. That's one of the greatest and easiest examples.
Oh
The,
yeah.
because everything they've created lately, I mean, they're losing billions of dollars, and they seem to think that it's the fans' fault. Well, we're not fans of what you're making, so how can we be even called fans? I think you swayed so many people away from
Yeah.
what we grew up and what we liked that we're going to go back to the '90s and consume what we liked.
Well, and with that, not to interrupt you, but bringing up Disney, I really didn't notice it because I mean I have two kids, they're 5 and 3, and growing up with Disney, especially in the '90s, I mean that was prime time for music and movies back in the day.
Oh
That's when
yeah,
animation was really kicking in with Pixar in '95 with Toy Story. I mean that's my favorite Disney movie. But when I think it was right after COVID, right around there. I remember on Disney Plus putting on a whatever movie. I think it was The Jungle Book. I put it on for my son, and it popped up a little thing for like 20 seconds saying, this isn't what we represent. Of whatever they did in the past, that was wrong, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I think it was even in like the Aristocats, and I'm like, why? Because they were alluding to a Chinese cat
yeah,
or
the
something like that
Siamese
at the
cats.
end.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like who gives a shit? It wasn't like we've talked about before. All of it was a joke. It was a poke of fun,
Right.
and nobody had a problem with it. Anyway, I digress and I interrupted you, but yeah, I didn't notice the whole Disney thing until I saw it on the screen, like a stark reminder of, hey, we're not condoning what the movie was about. And it's like nobody even thought that was what it was about. But go ahead.
Right. Well, and that's they're steering people away. Like
Yeah.
you may have still kind of went and saw these movies because it. I don't want to say you were at surface level, but you didn't consume media in the manner that some of the fans had,
Right.
where they were a lot more invested in it. Whether it be Star Wars, whether it be Marvel, whatever, they've had that IP for what 20 years now, almost. It's been a long time since they've had it. So it started out very well, and then it just slowly has started to tank, and now everybody's seeing it. So it's something where if it's subtlety when it's something that you enjoy and you can be like, no, that's not right. But when
Right.
somebody else kind of watch, they're just like, oh, okay, whatever. It has created a divide in in among the fans, and then it just bleeds, like you said, it bleeds over to the politics and things where it's like, oh, now it's just because you're this or that, and it's like, why can't it be just because I enjoyed the story as it was, and
Right.
now you're just changing it just because? Like there is no right. Write a good story, and people are going to watch it, listen
Right.
to it, read it, whatever. They love it. And one of the other videos on here that I did was the review of one of these shows on Netflix, and they're just destroying the story. Just you wrote a great story, no one would have any problem, and they'd be more than happy to watch it and probably be like, "Hey, dude, you should go check that out. That's cool. It's really cool. Maybe it's a great way to get into whatever it is." Nowadays, they don't care. They're either like you
Oh,
consume it or or you're a
right.
XYZ whatever. Like
Yep.
enter insert trigger word here.
Right.
But as I like to get into the culture wars too, because that is is a passion of mine. Like I said, we grew up in the '90s. We saw these movies when they came out. With some of the first movies we saw in theaters were probably Disney movies. I'm pretty sure my first one was Aladdin.
Yeah.
When
I honestly don't know the first movie I
Yeah,
saw
I don't remember it.
that I can remember. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's what my parents have told me the first movie. So it's a Disney movie. Families loved going to watch that. Now I have to basically either screen it or go, no thanks. Like that shouldn't even be a thing. Like Disney just wants you to
Right.
be like, just here, consume, consume, consume.
Right.
People are onto it now.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest things we'll touch on here with
Yeah.
comparing new to old movies. Has
Yeah.
it changed? Did they write the story to truly entertain fans, or were they looking for something and it ruined it? Um, so yeah, for culture wars, that's going to be a huge part of this,
Yeah.
and it's good that we have the two different viewpoints, right? Like you've
Absolutely.
just recently, seen it, so then it's refreshing for somebody to be like, oh, that's a great point, like oh, I
Right.
didn't even think about it that way,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where they want to get you because
Uh-huh.
the super fans or the toxic fandom, like people who truly enjoy it. Like, is that what you're trying to say? Like, come on, man.
Right.
You're,
Well, I mean,
you're
and like you were just saying, I mean, we all get complacent, and you know, you might only look at something through one lens, and that's kind of why we're here too, to be like, hey, here's another perspective. And like I said, you can like it, and if you don't, I don't care. It's not going to make me think anything different, and I know it won't for you either.
Yeah.
But it's just it's just that other point of view. That's all this is. It's just having a conversation about it and getting different points of view.
Yeah.
And then you never know. You might learn something. You never know.
Right.
Or you
Like we
might
kind of
might
talked
agree with
about.
one of us, and if you don't agree with either one of us, then go watch somebody else. I don't care.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we'll try and plug other folks, like I don't
Right.
mind sending business their ways. Like, yeah, it's people that I consume too, but hey, you know what? That's fine. Go see
Right.
what's up with them. Um,
Like you
but
said,
yeah,
it's all for entertainment.
that's it. Did it, make your day go by a little quicker? Did you get a laugh out of it?
Right.
Was it something that was just like, I'm going to tune in next week, or, like you don't have to do anything more than that. So I think that's kind of the fun of this, um, finding new things that are out there,
Yeah.
um, on these social media sites or whatever entertainment sites. Um, so kind of, I guess, kind of with that, it's not really a good segue, but we want to kind of talk about everyday life stuff too, just
Yeah.
normal, you know, like everybody talks about inflation, all that stuff, but I mean, truly everyday life stuff, like waking up in the morning, cups of
Yeah.
coffee, just do we have the drive to go walk the dog? You know what I mean? Like, what was
Yeah.
it this past week that kind of, it stuck with you, put you in a bad mood, whatever it was, um, or not, or something you saw and you're like, dude, that pumped me up or whatever. Like, we
Yeah.
want to bring some of that stuff and, into this and
Well,
open it up.
speaking of that, I got a good question that can apply to both of us, and I'll ask you first. The first, let's say, the first 2 to 3 hours of your day. What's your morning routine? What's the first 2 to 3 hours for your day look like?
So, like you'd mentioned, I have two small kids myself, 3 and 4 years old. So, my wife goes to work a little bit before they wake up. So they'll usually get me up around 7:30, 7, somewhere in there. So it's a built-in alarm clock. Um,
Yeah.
our shifts are in the afternoon, so mm, it's not, anything too drastic where I work nights or something and I have to worry about, whatever. When it'll come time to start taking them to school, that's going to be a fun challenge. But
Oh yeah.
basically, they wake me up in whatever manner it is, and we'll open the curtains a little bit, kind of let the light in, and then maybe turn TV on for a little bit, put on some Tom and Jerry, some Looney Tunes, whatever, some classics, um,
Nice.
and then we'll go downstairs, get some cereal. It's just you know basic kids morning that I want to give them to like what I had.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and that's where I'll go back and find some of the old cartoons. Like
Oh
I'll
yeah.
do my research. Okay, what who's got this streaming where to make sure that they can
Yeah.
experience what it is. And it's not some. I mean, they watch Blippy and they watch some of like the newer stuff too. But I think that's
We
just
got
kind
to
of
stay
natural. I
relevant
mean,
too.
and that's it, right? Like it's some of it is educational. I'm all for,
Oh yeah.
and some of the stuff teaches them colors and things. So when they were
Yeah.
younger, it's not a big deal. But yeah, ultimately that's probably the first couple hours. Once we get kind of rolling dressed, I'll usually leave the house about noonish. So do we get some chores done beforehand? Is it one of those mornings? Have some
Yeah.
coffee while they have their cereal, and we clean up. We go through little things here and there to kind of build that routine.
For sure.
Um, so,
You cut out for a minute.
oh, I said, how about you?
Okay. For me, let's see. So I have my kids Monday through Wednesday morning. So we'll go with those days. Let's see. I'm up at between 5:45 and 6. Get some coffee in me so I can function, and then usually waking up my son, getting him dressed for school, getting him something to eat. Get my daughter up and get her something to eat too, and go drop him off because it's about an hour drive to drop him off for school. And then by the time we get back, it's usually feed my daughter full breakfast at that point, and then getting the day going. When I don't have the kids, I'm usually still up by about 8:30. Um, just so I can get up again, have coffee, let the dogs out, and I usually don't eat breakfast in the morning. Just not a big breakfast person anymore. So usually a cup of coffee or two. Get the dog going, let my wife sleep, and do some stuff around the house since we just bought a house about a month and a half ago. So just still doing stuff like that. So find a little projects here and there, or I'll play my guitar or whatever. Kind of have a little bit of me time before start the day for work.
Sure.
Where I got to go deal
No.
with you for 8 hours.
Yep. Sounds about right. On those blessed days that we get to work together.
That's right.
Well, since you brought it up, let's kind of jump into music. So
Sure.
you recently outed yourself as somebody who plays an instrument.
Hmm.
So I didn't know when we first did the thing. I know you you mentioned like, oh, I dropped a TikTok, and I was like, bro, you can't set me up like that. Like, come on, come on. What are you doing? You trying on some of those TikTok pants? Like, get out of here, dude.
Oh yeah.
So give an intro to
70%
that.
off a TikTok shop.
Of course they are, and Timu too. I'm sure. Yeah. So give us a little bit. What's up with
Oh,
the music instruments?
yeah. I mean, so I play guitar. See, I've been playing since about 2008. I'm not like the most greatest thing on guitar. Bar chords are my worst freaking nightmare. But I can play. I can get along and play your good basic chords and do a song. I also sing too. Um, let me see here. Let me make sure I have my right handle for TikTok before I go out and plug myself with the wrong name. All right, so it's going to be alan.corwin.music or just Alan Corwin Music on TikTok.
How do you
I
spell
guess
Alan?
Allen, which next time I will have it up where it won't be Tim. I'll have my handle on there. But um, yeah, I do country music. I mean, I do love rock too. More of like early 2000s and before that. Not really into anything really, probably post 2010 ish for rock. But country's my thing. I mean, I've always grown up with country, and that's pretty much all that I think I have on there right now. I might have one Foo Fighter song, but other than that, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm just doing covers right now. I have written 2 or 3 songs. One of my songs I have on there, I believe, too. Um, I actually have a couple more songs that are going to be coming down the pipe probably in the next few months. Just got to hammer them out and possibly send it to a buddy of mine that writes with me um,
Nice.
and get some stuff going. So yeah, that's where you can find my music stuff is on there. And I think I put my most recent video up on YouTube too. But I don't remember the name for that one. I kind of just put it up there willy nilly just to see what happens. So yeah,
Sure.
that's my
Nice.
TikTok.
That's great. Yeah, yeah. So that was surprising.
Yeah,
And don't let him be too humble. He's pretty good. That was it
thank
was
you.
some pretty impressive playing. Yeah, that was really good.
Thank you.
I tried to in freshman in high school. I tried to,
Yeah.
or actually maybe in late middle school. I tried to pick up a guitar. I still have one from Taylor Guitar. Let's see if I can get it in the shot here. It's
Oh, that's
over
right.
in the
You work.
corner, right? Oh, there it is, wrapped up. So
Nice.
yeah, it's actually signed by a bunch of like the heads of the departments that were there. So
Oh, nice.
it's a dead guitar. Technically,
Yeah.
the neck is bent out of by Taylor standards, so you can still
Yeah.
be played. But one of the managers for the department was like, here, take this one. It's signed by a bunch of folks. It was just kind of a thing, and I was like,
That's cool.
sure, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that lasted all of probably about a year
I mean, I
before.
was self-taught. I mean, my dad, um, he knew how to play some stuff. He had a Gibson Les Paul, um, which was cherry red, which I thought was like the coolest guitar ever at the time.
Nice.
He had a couple other guitars, a couple acoustics and stuff. He didn't know like chords or anything like that, but he knew he could kind of play by ear and stuff like that, which which was cool. I mean, I learned your basics and stuff like that. But then
Sure.
as I got older and got more into it, it was something and that's when YouTube was just really starting to really fire up. So I was able to find tutorials on there, which this is not a tutorial.
Smart.
um, but just stuff like that. I bought chord books from time to time and just trying out stuff. I mean, I'm still trying to learn chords to this day that are complex chords and whatnot. But
Sure.
yeah, you're not going to see me shredding by any means.
Some Ernie
I
Ball
am no
books or
Kirk
what?
Hammett.
You
Ernie
said some
Ball?
Ernie
No.
Ball books, yeah.
No, I definitely had a lot of Ernie Ball strings and picks over the years, but no.
That's good
More
stuff,
of
dude.
like you're like
Yeah.
almost like chords for dummies type of shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
That's funny.
Give me 1 second.
And
Apparently,
honestly,
my
I
laptop is
mean,
about to die. Give me 1 second.
yeah, do you think?
I was not prepared.
Yeah, it checks out. Do you want me to remove you real quick? So I will entertain for a few minutes while he gets his setup going. Yeah, so a lot of this stuff is just kind of just hanging out. We're gonna dive into a topic per episode, and it'll be a lot more structured than this. We kind of just decided that hey, we're gonna do just just like an intro. Like I said, I put out my review video the other day on the channel, so we're just gonna start putting stuff out. We're gonna see what happens. Let me hit him in the chat real quick. So yeah, it'll be like I said, it'll be a lot more structure. We'll have topics so that way if you want to choose to be there for the weekend or for the show or not, it's cool. We'll try not to let it go just meandering, kind of like this one. We're just covering some topics that we are going to enjoy. I'll take this time while he's doing his thing. One of the things I'm going to bring into it is Gundam. As you can see, that's one of my passions. That was a review I did. One of the things that I grew up with, watching a lot of those. So we're going to do some fun things where we're building model kits, where we're just chatting kind of like this, but we'll have a little structure. We'll talk about, the culture. We'll talk about things like that. So I'll be able to, you got to get some light on you, bro.
Yeah.
It's over you, but you're just, you look like the guy who's snitching in like the first 48. Like
hold on.
So anyway, as I was saying, we're gonna try a couple of different things and we'll see if it sticks or not. I mean, it's most of these kits take between 12 to 15 hours, so that's some good chit-chatting time. So we'll just see how it goes, how it plays out.
It's light nonetheless.
You should. Too bad you can't turn yourself because the light looks good on the wall.
Yeah, no shit.
Holy kid. Too bad. It's like it's recording too. I can't just switch to video right now, or switch to audio. Oh, I can kind of see you getting there.
That'll do it.
Just use a flashlight on your phone.
I did. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, is that? Got it. That's sick. Smart.
Hey, this is not a tutorial. Okay, we have no idea what we're doing, but we're going to make it work and we're going to entertain you. If you don't find entertaining, then you probably shouldn't be watching our show.
It's not for the smarts.
No.
We're not intelligent by any stretch of the imagination.
No. We don't have a producer. We're doing this purely.
We are the co-executive producers.
That's right. That's right.
the directors, the producers, the stars.
There's no budget. Listen, I'm like Jackie Moon. Okay, I'm the coach. I'm the owner, the promoter, everything, choreographer.
Yeah, you might see him out doing car washes. We don't know yet. We don't know where this is going to go.
No. I don't need some.
Not like dodgeball.
Yep, I was just thinking that.
See, look at.
See, this is why we started a podcast, because this is nonstop all day.
It just jumps for one thing. I was literally, as you were saying that, as you were fixing your nonsense, whatever you're doing, that there's going to be structure to these shows. So I might have lied a little bit. I don't know.
I heard all of it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I was laughing back.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So Oh man. Yeah, dude. I don't. Unless you have any other topics, I think that's probably about it. We're just gonna just kind of
Yeah, I
do
think that's a
this.
pretty good overview. I mean, like I said, this is not at all what our normal stuff is going to be all about. But like you said, we'll probably do either comparisons or not all the time, two movies. Excuse me. Sometimes we'll just do a single movie and we'll just kind of not like review it because a lot of people just review them, but kind of just break it down, like why we like it, why we don't like it per se too. Um, Maybe about the act two, more like a highlight, like Travis was saying. We'll also probably do a little bit of music too. I don't want to repeat exactly everything that we said earlier, but just to reiterate, that's what the goal is for this podcast. So, if you guys are watching and you want to request a movie or songs or artist, whatever, put it down there in the comments, and we can definitely look into it. Um, just know it. We do work 40 hours a week or more. We do have families, so it might take a week or two for us to get that content out, but we will have it down and we'll do our very best to get it out there. So just hang in there with us, and we'll get you the content that you want.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. We're 100% receptive to
Yeah,
what any of you guys say. If you want to follow it and you want it tailored, hey, we can make something happen.
yeah.
It's
Which
totally
makes
not
our
like
job
a
even better, or easier at that point, because then we're not
we
trying
don't
to
have
figure out
to.
exactly what you
Yeah,
want to have to see.
exactly. We'll start just play off of whatever. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, I think that is a great way to wrap it up without
yeah,
repeating all this nonsense.
exactly.
Um, so yeah, hopefully you guys give us a like, give us a follow, just watch, listen, whatever. If you're driving to work, just throw it on real quick. I mean, that's
Please
kind of
hit the
the
subscribe button. Please like the video. Okay, we'll be corny just like every other YouTuber. No, like Travis said, we're we're just here to have a good time. And if you like it, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. And if not, then whatever, no big
and
deal.
if not, yeah, hopefully you got
You'll
a good
miss out. You'll miss out on a good
40
time. It's
minutes.
fine. It's fine.
You will. It's gonna be great. It's gonna don't
Gonna have we're
don't be
here
upset.
for a great time.
Yeah, for the 100th time. So all right, yeah, that's that's it for the video. So we're gonna go ahead and just cold end this, and hopefully everyone's having a great day after this. So
Yep. Y'all have a good one.
later.
Thanks for watching.